state your name and residence and age if you're comfortable with it?
My name is Lorena Castillo and I live in Martinez. I've lived here for 7 years and I'm 34 years old.
What is one of your favorite memories of Earth Day?
One of my favorite memories of Earth Day would have to be today because it's not super hot yet and I've had a lot of help from my students.
What influence do you think John Muir has had on today's conservation movement?
Well, the entire reason that we're here today is because of John Muir. I mean, we're at his house and there's over 80 organizations here that are representing some kind of conservation movement. So that right there goes to show how his legacy is living on.
What is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez?
The fact that John Muir built his home here has a huge impact on our community because he is the father of the National Park Service, and I feel like the community here in Martinez is really proud that we can call this John Muir's home.
Do you remember the first Earth Day in 1970?
No, because I wasn't born yet.
My name's Miriam Mitchell, 64, and currently living in Pittsburgh, but grew up in Concord.
Do you remember the first Earth Day in 1970?
I remember going to some. I went to one at the Pavilion. So that was a long time ago. You don't look like you're as old as my daughter. So it was over 20 years ago.
How has Earth Day changed over the years?
Let's see. Different kind of booths. It's changed because there's different booths, but back then they had some really cool ones. There was a lot of craft booths. There were a lot of like Native American type things, you know. It seems like there were more booths, but as far as change, it's that idea is still the same. Maybe some were more interactive. They were doing a lot of cooking and stuff, that kind of thing. And
can you tell us one of your favorite memories for Earth Day?
From Earth Day? I don't know. I just kind of was fascinated by some of the booths that they had, especially like the Indian ones, because some of the things that they were making and stuff. I found that kind of interesting. But the whole idea of it, you know, is to have more consciousness about what you're throwing away, that kind of thing, and recycling. So that theme has kind of stayed.
Cool. Thank you. So can you state your name, residence, and age if you're comfortable?
My name is Barbara Bloomer. I live in Berkeley, California, and I just turned 70 years old.
Have you been to Earth Day before?
I have been to Earth Day celebrations, yes.
What is one of your favorite memories from Earth Day?
Well, my favorite memory of Earth Day is actually walking on in Berkeley, where there was a whole Earth Day celebration, which made me, I was an elementary school teacher, so I did a lot of activities around Earth Day in my classroom.
So what is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez?
In Martinez?
Yeah.
Well, in Martinez, I think it's the same significance as everywhere else, except that this is the birthplace of conservation, of admiration, and preservation of nature. And so this is where John Muir lived in his adult years, where he had children, and where he probably came up, where he entertained presidents, Teddy Roosevelt. And so, yeah, this is a very important place for Earth Day. I'm glad I'm here, even that I didn't realize it was Earth Day.
So can you state your name, residence, and age if comfortable?
Sure. My name is Raj Hajela. I live in Concord, and I'm 52 years old.
So what influence do you think John Muir has had on today's conservation movement?
Well, I think it's been a tremendous influence actually on the whole conservation movement because, he is essentially the father of the National Park Service, the National Park System. He also was one of the founding members of the Sierra Club, which has had a tremendous impact all over the world, not just in the U.S., but all over the world. I consider John Muir to be one of the fathers of the nation, even though he wasn't around during the, independence movement and all of that. But he made a significant contribution to America. And many years ago, this is a story I like to tell people. Many years ago, when my wife and I were once traveling abroad, coming back to the U.S., we asked ourselves this hypothetical question on the flight, and it's like, what is the one thing you'd miss most about America if you were never able to come back? And our answer for both of us was the National Park Service. And that was actually what prompted me to start thinking more about John Muir and sort of even volunteering here with the John Muir Association.
So if you could have lunch with John Muir, what would you want to talk to him about?
Oh my God, what would I talk to him about? Just ask him about his travels. I mean, he was a very interesting guy. I'm sure he was very determined in what he did. Just ask him more about his travels and what drove him as a human being to, try to understand where the passion came from, the passion for the outdoors and the environment.
John DeVito, Martinez, California.
Do you think people's attitudes about the environment have changed over the years?
Most definitely.
So what influence do you think John Muir has had on that?
Oh, I'm sure he had a lot of influence. I mean, he started our park system, or helped start it anyway.
So how have you seen the city of Martinez change over the years in relation to all of this?
God, the city of Martinez has always been pretty community conscious, but I'm sure all of us are more environmentally concerned now that with our water shortages and landfill issues.
So have you been to Earth Day before?
Every year, almost every year for the past 10.
What's one of your favorite memories?
Just coming here with my grandchildren this year is pretty cool because they've always been kind of too young in the past.
Nice. If you could have lunch with John Muir, what would you want to talk to him about?
Ooh, that's a tough one. God, about Yosemite.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's good.
Hello, I'm Bruce Dobbs. I live in Lincoln, California, in Sun City, Lincoln Hills. My age is 76.
So what is one of your favorite memories of Earth Day?
Well, I've never really gotten into Earth Days, and so I really don't know what it's all about.
Okay.
But I go along with it because I know it's supposed to be helping.
So do you know a lot about John Muir?
We watched the John Muir on YouTube the other day, the trail, taking the John Muir Trail up in Yosemite, and we followed the hiker all the way through it. No, I don't know much about him. You have to talk to my wife. She's the one that gets involved in everything.
So if you could have lunch with John Muir and talk to him about stuff, what would you talk to him about?
Geez, I would think I would talk to him about his grafting of trees and changing that sort of thing, changing plants to do something else or to help them.
Cool. And what is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez to you?
It's fun.
Good answer.
Enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
My name is Roxana Facio. I live in Concord, California, and I turned 70 years old this year.
So have you been to Earth Day before?
Yes, I have.
What's one of your favorite memories from Earth Day?
Oh, I come with my granddaughter, whose birthday is April 22nd, and just coming with her every year is my favorite memory. This is our 5th year.
So how has Earth Day changed over those years?
You're a little more organized. Booths are easier to find. Food service went faster. And there's a lot more people, which is wonderful.
Great.
My name is Ted Hamilton. I'm from Walnut Creek, and this is my first time coming to this Earth Day celebration at John Muir.
So, since it's your first time, what have you seen so far?
I've seen the John Muir house, and I've gone through the Anza home behind us, and been around to a number of the exhibits here in the valley.
What is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez to you?
I think it's a good way to bring attention to the environmental concerns that the country has and that the world needs to have. And this is a good way to get the kids out, introduce them early, and some of the old folks like myself to enjoy some of the history.
Do you think people's attitudes about the environment have changed over the years?
Absolutely, no question about it. People are so much more involved, and the education system in our universities has come overwhelmingly to the environmental side, and sometimes in the real world it even goes too far, but there is definitely increased awareness.
Hi, I'm Megan Isidore. I'm the head of the River Otter Ecology Project, and we happen to have won an award here today at the John Muir Association. And I'm just going to read my presentation for the award. It's short. It's such a delight for us to be here today among all the conservationists who are working so hard for our planet. We owe so much to the great people who came before us, to John Muir, of course, whose legacy is as rich and as flowing as a river on its journey from the Sierras into the San Francisco Bay estuary and out into the wide Pacific. Thinking about that first Earth Day, 45 years ago, I'm struck by the consistency of the promise and the hope in conservation. We haven't achieved our goals of a healthy, sustainable Earth yet. But 45 years ago, there were no beavers in Martinez, there were no river otters in the estuary here, there were no mink, there were certainly no harbor porpoises in San Francisco Bay. The whole bay was a messy, polluted, mucked up mess. But the Clean Water Act happened, and a lot of restoration started happening all around San Francisco Bay. It made way for conservation efforts, large and small. The fact that river otters are back and thriving all over the San Francisco Bay Area is a living example of nature's ability to heal itself. There's lots more progress to be made, and we can make it. Let's use this Earth Day and every day as our opportunity to reaffirm the promise and responsibility to allow the earth to heal itself and allow it to heal us. Thank you.
My name is Janet Archibald. I live in Martinez, and I'm 56 years old.
Have you been to Earth Day before?
Yes, I've been many times. I forget how many.
What is one of your favorite memories from Earth Day?
I love walking around the John Muir property. It's so beautiful here. It's one of my favorite places in Martinez. And I just love seeing all the different exhibits about what's going on ecology-wise.
How has Earth Day changed over the years that you've been coming to it?
It seems a lot better attended now. It seems there are a lot more people here.
So do you think that people's attitudes about the environment have changed over the years?
I think there's a lot more awareness about it, yes.
So if you could have lunch with John Muir, what would you want to talk to him about?
Hetch Hetchy. I'd like to hear what he says about Hetch Hetchy and how he fought to save that space.
Cool, thank you.
Hi, I'm Don Lepacek, and I live in Oakley, California, up Highway 4 East. I'm 55 years old, and I currently work at the Shell Martinez refinery.
So since this is your first Earth Day, how's it going?
Oh, it's great. It's a great experience. I've actually never gotten onto the property before, so this is my first Earth Day experience here.
So do you know a lot about John Muir?
I know a lot about his treks and followed a lot of the photography and stuff like that through a lot of his books. But other than that, in detail, no.
If you could have lunch with him, what would you ask him?
I would ask him where he felt the most at home. And I know he's talked a lot about it when he was doing travels through Yosemite and stuff like that. So probably one of his more famous things.
So what is the significance of Earth Day to you?
Earth Day is the celebration of everything that's on planet Earth, the conservation of the resources, and making sure that, you know, people, planet, all coexist peacefully, and that we're not taking away what we can't put back and restore.
Hi, my name is Gloria Muther and this is Madison Martin. We live here in Martinez, about 5 minutes away.
So since this is your first Earth Day, what's your favorite memory so far?
The bats.
The bats. I actually like the John Muir house. This is my first time to see the John Muir house. I've lived here in Martinez for a long time and I've passed it many times, but I've never actually been in there.
And while we were at the John Muir house, I got a bloody nose.
So, do you think people's attitudes about the environment has changed over the years?
I do to some extent. I still think there's a long way that we need to go. A lot of people don't care, and the ones that do care are trying, and we have a long way to go.
So do you know a lot about John Muir?
You know, I knew hardly nothing about him. Madison has learned some things in school. Do you want to say something about John Muir, what you learned?
Well, my teacher said that John Muir is a very old man and now he passed away, but he still has some memories in John Muir house that you might want to see.
So if you could talk to John Muir, if you could have lunch with him and sit down and have a conversation, what would you ask him about?
I would ask him about how his life was in the past.
What about you?
I think I would ask him about all the antiques he still has in the house. I love the furniture.
I love the wallpaper.
And I really like the old sewing machines and the things like that.
Great. Could you say your name, residence, and age?
Colin Beerline, Crockett, California, age 42.
So what's one of your favorite memories of Earth Day?
Favorite memory of Earth Day is the free stuff and the bags, the goodie bags.
So, you know a lot about John Muir.
We studied him in grade school. Growing up, you know, I grew up in this area. And we studied him in grade school, and even came out like a busload of kids, took a tour of the house.
Have you noticed a change in people's attitudes about the environment?
I think it's fashionable for people to say that they're like a friend of the environment. I think so, more so than in like the 80s, which is when I grew up. So yeah, I think it's trending towards, you know, being cool to be a friend of the environment. Hopefully, you know, people will actually do stuff though, actually take that to heart and actually, you know, make some sacrifices and commit to it rather than just say amongst their friends that they do it.
So have you noticed a change in the way people help the environment since, like you said, the 80s?
Yes, I think, you know, it's become fashionable to say you're a friend of the environment more so than it was in the 80s, which was kind of the consumer decade a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So if you could have lunch with John Muir, what would you talk to him about?
His beard.
A slightly related question, what do you think you guys would eat?
Something with fennel, probably.
Okay, thank you. So what is your name, residence, and age?
My name is Steve Johnson. I live in Pleasant Hill, California, and I'm 62 years old.
So what is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez to you?
The significance of Earth Day in Martinez to you? Oh, damn, that's a lot. The significance of Earth Day is to find out what people in the community and people around the area think of sustainable growth for food, as in vegetables, etc., fruit, and the climate, what's different about the climate, as in climate change, as in the drought, as in finding out ways for people to preserve water, finding out ways for people to make sure that the earth as we know it is going to be around for people your age.
So what do you know about John Muir? A lot, a little?
I know very little about John Muir except for the fact he was one of the guys who used to walk around going, boy, this really looks nice. We need to preserve this for humanity. Yes, let's make it a national park. Let's preserve the land for generations to come to see it and to enjoy it. Now, I think he has something to do with Yosemite, but I could be wrong.
If you could have lunch with him and figure out more about him, what would you talk to him about?
Boy, now that is a good question. Where did that come from? If I could have lunch with John Muir, I'd probably talk about why he felt compelled to do some of the things he did. Why did he feel like it was necessary for people, instead of building shopping malls, although they didn't have shopping malls in his day, to preserve the land? Interesting. I'd also like to know his views on barbed wire. Well, don't laugh. I would. I'd like to know his views on barbed wire, because barbed wire was used to fence off the land for the ranchers to have their land and for cattlemen to keep their cattle out. I was curious about that. Why? Barbed wire is not nice.
So are you liking Earth Day today?
Yes.
Yeah. What was your favorite part so far?
You. No, not you as in you, but the young people, you kind of thing. The interest of the young people. I was expecting to see a lot of old fogies, to be honest with you. You know, old farts. But no, seeing young people and finding out that young people are actually interested in things other than Twitter and Facebook, and not that Twitter and, well, yeah, Twitter and Facebook is the devil. But yeah.
So you think that people's attitudes towards the environment are
I
changing?
think people's attitude towards the environment needs to change. Whether or not it's changing now, I cannot say that. I don't think it is, to be honest with you. I think people are like no offense to the other party, but that party that says climate change doesn't exist, and go around telling the president that what you're trying to do to save the environment is hogwash. Let's put up oil wells all over the place. What the heck? We need oil. We don't need solar panels. Please. There's a windmill too, by the way. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ken Hagan. I live in El Cervante, California, and they tell me I'm supposed to be 70 years old.
Do you think people's attitudes about the environment have changed over the years?
Yes, I think I have noticed a slow turning around of the way people handle the environment, not so much garbage on the shores of the bay. And I think, as myself, one of the things I do is I go down to Pinole Shores, and I make a habit every now and then taking a bag and pick up the garbage that's along the beach. People see me what I'm doing, they say, "What are you doing?" And I tell them, they look at me and say, "Oh, okay." So it's a reminder to people, if you leave your garbage down there, someone's only going to have to pick it up for you.
What influence do you think John Muir has had on that?
John Muir. Well, the history of John Muir, I think, speaks for itself. Without John Muir, we probably would not have the great Yosemite Valley and numerous other fantastic parks. Without him, who knows, the developers would probably have moved in, we'd have homes everywhere. God help us, huh?
So if you could sit down and have lunch with John Muir, what would you talk to him about?
John Muir, I would have to thank him for everything that he's done, and it would be a great joy to be able to spend some time in his environment with him. For instance, he had President Roosevelt down here for a few days camping to see the Great Yosemite and things like that, and I think, wow, what an incredible experience. He's a giant of the past, which you rarely see of today, giants of the past, and he's one of those.
What do you think you guys would eat at lunch?
What you might eat at lunch back in John Muir's day?
Yeah. Or what would he like from today that he would eat?
Not much, I think. Not much. Perhaps what he might jump is bottled water, but then he'd think, why is it in plastic? He might eat a hot dog.
Good, thank you.
My name is Susan Getty and I live in San Francisco, California.
So how is your first Earth Day going?
Very well. It's a lot cooler than I was expecting.
Temperature?
Temperature. Yeah, no, it's surpassed my dreams of coolness in the other capacity.
What is your favorite part of today so far?
Of today?
Yeah.
I should say Project Coyote, because that's where I work, and our booth, and Camilla Fox, our executive director, is getting an award, and that's going to be amazing. But I have to admit that the bats that they have over there are really, really cute, and I wasn't expecting bats to be so cute, especially when they eat mealworms.
So do you know a lot about John Muir?
I don't, unfortunately. I should, and I'm sure that most people say that they don't, and that's going to be really sad. So,
if you could have lunch with him and ask him a few questions, what would you want to know?
Like, who are you? Why should I know? Sorry. You should not. Don't include that. I sense some tension between John Muir and the doctor part of the family. Just picking that up from the tour that I did, that there was some money. There's a sign right when you walk in about how he was embarrassed by his wealth, or that's the impression I got. So I would be kind of curious to ask him about that. And the money was from a farm, right? So I was gonna know who worked on his farm and ask him about that, and what kind of animals he had and how did he treat them, and yeah.
So what's the significance of today for you? Like what have you gotten out of today?
Earth Day specifically?
Yeah.
Out of the Earth Day concept? I don't know. I find Earth Day a little bit frustrating, I guess, because I'm a negative person, so I always look on the downside. But just that there's only really one day that we think about these things. I think we should be thinking about them all the time, and so...
Earth Month?
Yeah, Earth Minute. I mean, every minute. So I guess I find it sad when everybody comes together for one day and does things that they should be doing all the time. And me too. I'm not above my own criticism. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Richard Taylor. I'm 71 years old. I live in Martinez. And in 1960, I was a sophomore at Antioch High School, and I did a report on the John Muir house. We came over here, and there was a couple, Fair and Henry Sachs, and they lived in the room behind the kitchen because they couldn't afford to heat the whole house. And they gave me the run of the area. Years ago, there used to be a swimming pool up in front, and the visitor center now, that was the veterinarian's office. And also, Henry was painting the house. It took him a year to paint each side of the house. He first had to clean it, and then they tried to match the paint as close as they could get it. And it was just about finished when it became a national monument. Also, they said that people would come night and day, anytime, and expect to get a tour here. And one day this old Woody station wagon pulled up to the side of the house, and this a gentleman with a beat-up cowboy hat got out and they were setting up tripods, and that was the famous photographer Ansel Adams. And also there was a junior high student back east. He wrote a book report on John Muir. He got interested in conservation, and that was Ralph Nader. So they have a lot of local connections here, and it was quite an experience. It's changed a lot. I'm glad that it's now a national monument.
My name is Amanda. I'm 16 and I live in Martinez.
Cool. So, what is the significance of Earth Day in Martinez, in your opinion?
I think the significance of Earth Day in Martinez is that it's just a really special event. It's definitely cool going to all the booths and seeing what people are supporting and stuff like that, and being able to support something for myself, like silence. I mean, not right now, but yeah.
Awesome. Have you been to Earth Day before?
Yes.
Cool. So, in your opinion, recently, how has Earth Day changed over the years that you've been coming here?
Well, I used to go to Earth Day with my friends, and I just kind of walked through all the booths, like seeing what everything was, just because we were here. And I think it's always been really cool, and I've always liked coming here, but it's definitely a lot different being a part of it.
Awesome. And so what influence do you think John Muir has had on this event and on conservation in general?
I need to think about this one for a second. Can you say it one more time?
Sure. So what influence do you think John Muir has had in conservation, like the way we look at nature and our environment?
I think having his house as a museum and this space that he lived in as a natural preserved space is beneficial, because you can like see everything. And so you learn a lot about kind of his philosophy and stuff.
Awesome. And what is one of your favorite memories of Earth Day?
This one's hard.
It's all good.
I think today, because I was walking around like trying to communicate with people, but I was silent, so it was just like really interesting communicating with people while not actually talking to them. And like it was just kind of cool because I just got to listen, and I think this is the first Earth Day where I've really like listened to everything.
Wow.
So.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Chris Waite. I am 17 years old and I live in Martinez, California.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
How has Earth Day changed for you over the last years?
Earth Day had no meaning to me 2 years ago. And since I joined New Leaf, an awesome sustainable living collaborative, I have been involved in Earth Day for the past 2 years, and it's been one of the funnest experiences I've ever had in my life. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it heightens my senses of nature and every aspect of it around me, and I appreciate nature and Earth Day and John Muir's birthday way more than I did 2 years ago.
Okay, thank you. If you could have lunch with Mr. John Muir himself, what would you want to talk to him about?
I would want to know the reason that his own personal reason of why why he decided to become a naturalist. Because from what I've heard about his background, it's not, he wasn't always like a nature-going boy, you know what I mean? So I'd want to know why he became a naturalist and what inspired him to do that.
And do you think people's attitudes about the environment have changed in the recent years?
So like a 10-year span, or what?
Yeah, like in the last 2 or 3 years, how have people's attitudes changed about the environment?
Oh, I think that people's attitudes have changed in California specifically because of the whole drought, and I don't know about any other places, but from around Antioch to Hercules, everything's all dead and it's all brown and it's not green, which is bad.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, and I think that people are definitely becoming more aware of the actions, following up with their actions and knowing that what they do affects everything and anything around them. So I think people are definitely becoming more aware of what's going on in our world as of right now.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.